Hey guys, Crazy Postman here. So if you watched my video a few days ago about trying to charge the IONIQ on a generator, I actually thought that was going to work because it had in the past. I was able to successfully charge my Tesla with that very same generator. There's 11. 12. Okay, here we go. So after that failure a few days ago of trying to get my car to charge on that generator, I had a friend text me and said, hey, I have a inverter generator. And as you know, inverter generators are much cleaner. The problem was when I was trying to charge with my basic generator, the voltage swings were all over the place. And evidently that was just a little bit out of the tolerances of the IONIQ. 245, 234. That voltage is all over the place. No wonder the charger doesn't like it. 259? Wow. Yep, it gave up again. So I do have the inverter generator here. You can see it is a Predator. Now the thing about this generator, it's just a 120 volt generator. I'm very confident that the regular 120 volt charger will work. We're going to try that first. Now, I also have a 240 volt EVSE, the shock flow. You saw it last week. Well, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to react if we try to plug it into this 120 volt generator. Now, I do have an adapter to make it work. Now, if you look here on the back of the EVSE, it says that is within its working voltage range. So, I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, because 16 amps is the minimum amperage that 240 volt EVSE will take. So we're going to start out with the 120 and see that works, and then we'll experiment with plugging in the 240 and see what happens. So again, we're going to start out with my regular 120 EVSE. Let's go ahead and get this thing fired up so it can be warming up a little bit. So what do we want to do? We want to turn it to start and hit the start button. And then turn it up to run. Alright. One thing I immediately notice is this one is much quieter than my 240 volt. I'm going to call it a regular generator because this one is an inverter generator. So if we look here on the front, our options are this 30 amp RV style AC outlet or this 20 amp regular household style outlet. Now, one thing you'll notice is both of these outlets are 120. There is no 240 volt outlet on this thing. So we're going to start with the regular household outlet here on the level 1 charger. And we're going to see that it does work, and then we will move up to this RV outlet here and do some experimenting. There is also a eco throttle for this thing. You can turn that on and it even gets quieter. It's amazing how quiet this is. We will start off by not using that, because I'm not doing an experiment on efficiency here. I just want to see if it works. Immediately you can see I get an F2 fault. I think this is a grounding fault, and we've talked about that in the last episode. So let me go inside and get the plug. And if you want to watch that episode, I will link it in the description in case you haven't seen it. You know what we're talking about. So here's the little cheater plug that I was talking about. It doesn't have a back end on it, if you can see that. And you just plug this into the front of the generator. And then you plug this back in. And looky there, problem solved. No error. So definitely need the ground and the neutral bonded for this to work. So we're going to bump this up to full power. Might as well start with all the beans. 12 amps. Alright. Here's the moment of truth. Let's get this door open here. Alright. Got our level 1 cord here. This is definitely going to work. Plug that in. Yep. It did start charging. You kind of heard, as soon as it started charging, you heard the engine kind of fill the load just a little bit and the idle changed slightly. Let's go inside and see what we're charging at. But you can tell we're charging because the lights are flashing here. Let's go make sure it's charging evenly. Unlike that last time, it was bouncing all over the place. So, there you are. We are charging at full level 1 speed of 1.2 kilowatts. For me to get to 90%, it's going to take 7 hours and 30 minutes of me charging like this. Now, if you remember, this generator had an eco setting. I'm going to go ahead and flip the switch on that eco setting and see what happens to my charger. So you can see we have 122 volts. Let's see what happens. Nothing happened. Nope, there is no difference. So evidently, it's pulling enough load that it's rendering the eco settings not usable. So it does need to pull that much RPMs to be able to charge this car. So there's no reason to keep wasting my friend's gas. We do know this is going to work as long as you have the neutral and ground bonded. It'll happily charge your car in the event of an emergency. Now we're going to do a little experimentation. Let's go ahead and stop this. Okay. You could kind of hear that start to idle down. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to get my 240 plug and I'll show you what we're going to use. So now we're going to do some little experimentations. Now you remember my shock flow here. Now this is not an advertisement, but they did provide this for me for free to use on the channel and to make videos with, so just know that. But I have this plug here. Now on this side of this plug, it's a 120 30 amp plug, just like that generator has. But on this side of the plug, it's a 240 50 amp plug. So you can do a little cheating with this plug here. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to react. Like I said earlier, if you look at the back of this, it tells you some stats. Now, I'll put a still picture on the screen so you can see without me flopping around what this says. But this is a level 2 240 EVSE. Now, it says it can accept 120 or 240 volt. So I'm not exactly sure what the options on amperage are going to be. If it has a different menu flow, if it's plugged into 120, because 16 amps is the minimum you can set this to. So now this generator magically becomes a NEMA 1450 compatible generator. I sure hope the grounding transfers over to this plug or we'll have a problem. I could always get a piece of wire and jump the neutral into the ground if I have to. I've actually done that before, but that's a lot more sketchy. So let's go ahead and get this thing out and plugged in. Let's see what happens here. We got that all plugged in. We're gonna plug it into the generator and see what happens. Nothing happens. This is not turning on. Alright. We do have one more thing we can try. My buddy made this other cable, and it's the RV plug on one side, and then the twist lock generator plug on the other. So let's try this one. This was a store-bought adapter, so I'm not sure why it didn't work. We do need to get in the front of my car and get that adapter out. Right here it is. See, you got the twist lock generator plug, NEMA 1450 on the other. This is quite the contraption we're building here. So you see we have our NEMA 1450 going into a generator adapter, and then this goes into an RV adapter. Let's see what happens here. It's still not coming on. Nothing. Alright, so I'm going to say the adapters are probably good, and the shock flow is not happy with the 120 volts. It's not really capable of plugging into 120 volts, is my guess. Even though that's what the back of the box says here. So that brings our experiment to an end. It worked perfectly when I used the 120 volt EVSE, just like it's supposed to. So no problems. In an emergency, you can use an inverter generator to charge an electric car. Now obviously for efficiency reasons, that wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't want to do it every day, but if there's no power or you're stuck on the side of the road somewhere, it is a possibility. So thanks for watching this follow-up video. I will see y'all in the next one. There's sirens all over the place. Not exactly sure what's going on. Let's see if we can get out here and see. Oh, it's an ambulance. He is booking it too. Wow. That ambulance is booking. Anyway, let's get back into the backyard. There always is some kind of sirens going on at my house. Where's he going now? Oh, it's another ambulance. Wow. Whatever it was big enough that they needed to send 2 ambulances. Here comes something else. What is this one? Another police car.